it's your boy Jeameave back in Views from the Heart, and today we got a 2015 Infiniti Q50. It's packing a VQ37HR, HR meaning high revving, which is a 3.7 liter V6 boasting 328 horsepower and 269 pound-feet of torque. It's an aluminum block with aluminum heads and port fuel injection. This is an Infiniti Q50 Premium, which is also rear-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive. It's made into a 7-speed automatic transmission with Jeameave MPG, 20 city and about 29 highway. It has a curb weight of just under 3,800 pounds, somewhere between about 3,780 pounds if I believe off the top of my head. This is the successor to the Infiniti G sedan. This is the Q50 replaces that, and pretty much everything has translated from the Infiniti G37 to the Infiniti Q50 with the exception of one key and a very important thing, and one thing that I don't like already, because driving into this location, parking it, I felt it. It's very vague. You guys probably know what it is. It's the steer-by-wire steering, and immediately, I don't know if, you know, the steering dynamics when I put it in a sport mode would change anything. I'm not sure yet, but so I'll reserve my full judgment. But it's very vague, it's very unappealing, and it's not sporty at all. So, considering why many people enjoy G's, you know, the Infiniti G sedan or G37 coupe, it's because of the great steering feel, high revving VQ37HR engine, you know, 7,500 RPMs, and you know, a linear, nice power band, although lack of torque, but it has a good power band that is enjoyable to drive on a day-in and day-out basis. So I'm very curious to find out, as to see, did Infiniti mess up on this sedan in terms of offering something that some people that may not want, you know, a German luxury tax the vehicle, or you know, deal with German unreliability, and that's looking for something sporty, but did Infiniti mess up with this vehicle? I don't know, but let's go ahead and check this bad boy out, because the interior is actually pretty snazzy. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Alright, so let's see what this Infiniti Q50 is packing. Jump on in. Woo! Door kind of extended out, kind of hyper-extended myself. But this is actually a pretty nice place to be in. Now, I don't know for sure, but this does not feel like genuine leather to me. It feels like faux leather. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if I'm spending, you know, $55,000 with options, this car brand new base price is about $45,000. With options, you will see it hitting around $54,000. With that being said, I know Mercedes is notorious for using faux leather as well, and as well as BMW. Don't get, like I said, I am completely honest when it comes to these things. I try to be as unbiased and generalized as I possibly can be, because like I said, this is a car review channel. This is Views from the Heart. This is my genuine opinion. This is all I can give you, is my personal thoughts on everything. But moving along, like I said, the leather feels, or faux leather, like I said, I'm not 100% sure, but it just, I'm fortunate enough to have real leather in my car. It doesn't feel like this. Obviously, no two leathers are the same. But I also have a gaming chair, a DX Racer, that is faux leather. And that feels remarkably similar to this. Now, the reason I bring that up is because depending on the care, and obviously it doesn't really matter too much for gaming chairs or chairs in general, because at least that's inside the house. Is the main reason being is unless you have a garage or anything like that, or you keep your vehicle outside of the sun for prolonged periods of time, majority of the time that you stow away the car, you know, depending on where you work, where you live, etc., and so on and so forth. Faux leather is known to crack over time, so it kind of, if this is faux leather, it brings up, it kind of makes me question the reliability of the interior long term. Faux leather, the veneer or like the vinyl over it tends to crack, especially when under duress and when exposed to, you know, sunlight, and if it's not well taken care of. Obviously that can happen to pure leather as well, but it's very less likely because it's far easier to clean or maintain. You know, you just do a little replenishing, things like that. Leather can be restored for the most part, you know, I mean, as long as you're not abusing it. But when it comes to the topic of faux leather, it kind of begs the question. It is comfortable, like I said, it's pretty snazzy in here. Everywhere I touch is of this either soft touch or it's leather. It feels real clean in here, and with the equipped tints in here, it's very cool, very secluded, feels nice, some privacy. You know, like I said, this is Southern California, sunny LA, west side, best side. and you know, it's real cool, it's real snazzy. The infotainment system is pretty responsive. I do enjoy it. It gives a little haptic feedback, you know, when you touch on certain things and things of that nature. But overall, I'm pretty impressed by it. It's a little too touch centric for me, in my opinion. But you know, I do kind of appreciate a little bit more buttons, but it does point across, and like I said, it's not the worst thing in the world, and you know, it's just the signs of the future. It's not the most intuitive, but it's also not the worst. I've definitely come across a little bit more annoying infotainment systems that were primarily touch-based, like the Cadillac CTS 2.0T review that I did. That infotainment system was a little bit slow, a little bit lethargic. But in here, it's a little snappier. It's not the fastest thing, but it's adequate. But moving along, the cabin space, the back seat interior space is adequate. You know, this is a decent family hauler, but if you're on the taller side, don't play yourself. If you have two tall people, don't sit the tall person behind the other tall person. It's not going to be a good look. Not going to enjoy each other in this vehicle. But other than that, it offers ample leg room. Besides again, when it comes to the rear though, due to the sloping roofline, if you're a taller individual, your head might hit the sloping roofline, especially if you try and pack 5 people in here, because the center seat or center seating area right here is kind of raised compared to the 2 individual seats behind the driver and the front passenger. The middle seat is a little bit raised, so as you guys can see, my head hits the and like I said, I'm not the tallest person, I'm only about 5'5", but my head hits the roofline of this vehicle. So obviously the taller person in the middle, don't play yourself, don't agree to that. But moving along, like I said, the interior is of good quality. I feel like it's like it will hold up reasonably well. Like I said, I'm a little bit iffy because I'm not 100% sure whether or not this is faux leather or Sensitech or whatever you want to call it. Like what Mercedes tries to use, even BMW tries to use, like Sensitech or whatever. It's not. Don't play yourself. Get genuine leather. You'll appreciate it much more, and will have better resale value. Well, I mean, at least for the people that are aware of such a thing and can spot fake leather. I'm not a leather aficionado, but like I said, I can only go off of what it feels like to me, and as explained and as aforementioned, that's what it feels like, and that's the impression it gives off to me. It doesn't feel like genuine leather. But overall, you know, the panel is just kind of like a perforated sort of like texturized panel right here. It feels pretty good to the touch. Overall, this interior in this, like I said, in this Q60 is adequate. It does feel up to standard. Like I said, the vehicle does compete with the likes of, you know, Mercedes C-Class, the BMW 3 Series, and Audi A4. Does it surpass them? No. Oh, and then of course the other Japanese rival, the Lexus IS 200T or 300 or 350, especially the F Sport. I still firmly believe that F Sport is the best interior in this segment. It's the most driver centric to me. It feels like everything was just catered more to the driver as opposed to just being a okay-ish looking cabin space to other people. But other than that, like I said, if I were to rank them, I would say, from my understanding of these generations and current classes of vehicles, I would probably put this, at least this specific model, this is the premium model, probably last. I would probably put a Lexus F Sport number 1, Mercedes number 2, BMW number 3. Yeah, BMW number 3. The MMI for Audi is pretty nice, but like I said, I feel like they put too much attention to the MMI infotainment system from the newer Audis that I've seen, because I've seen some very questionable interiors. Like I've seen an Audi A3 before where the interior was extremely bland, and I was just like, ugh. And then Audi 4, and then Infiniti 5. But that's a good group to be in. Like I said, it's competing with very heavy hitters there, in my opinion. And like I said, it's not a bad thing, because like I said, everything that's being compared to is good. It just happens to be you know, not necessarily on the same level. It just offers a little less. And like I said, I'm not trying to knock the interior, because honestly, if I were to be given this car based purely on how the interior is, I wouldn't mind it. I would enjoy it. I wouldn't necessarily say I would love it, but it is definitely a clean, comfortable place to be in. The layout as well. The interior cabin space is good. The visibility seems to be reasonably well. Like I said, there's very few qualms I have with this, but like I said, what's creeping in the back of my mind is how this car is going to drive, and that is the main imperative in any vehicle that I drive, in any review that I give, is how the car drives. Exterior wise, I actually do really like the way the exterior looks. I think it looks far better than the previous generation G sedan. That's just my personal opinion, but I think Infiniti nailed it on the exterior design of this vehicle. I feel like it has a nice road presence. It's unique whenever you see this on the road, at least in the front anyway. The rear is a little bit different. I prefer the rear of the G37. But overall, I feel like this interior is up to standard. It is up to par, and it is something that I do enjoy, as well as the exterior. I feel like it offers a nice contrast, a nice combination. So there's many things I do enjoy about it, and there's very few things that I do dislike about it. But as we may or may find out, depending on how this vehicle drives, that's going to be the main determining factor as to whether or not I would personally recommend this vehicle, or if I would, you know, wouldn't grill it too hard, depending on what I can try and tell, or what sort of customer is trying to appeal to. Because like I said, there is a teeming market here. Many people don't want to pay German luxury tax for their vehicles, you know, in terms of the reliability, in terms of obviously higher labor prices, possibly more expensive parts, things of that nature. So obviously people tend to look to Japanese brands for reliability, naturally aspirated engines. You know, obviously this was prior, you know, it was clear and obvious that the Germans tend to be, or at least were for this segment, the first ones to employ wide-scale turbo technology within their vehicles, while the Japanese automakers stick to their guns and continue to deploy naturally aspirated engines until the last few years. So like, again, this is a VQ37HR. It's the same 3.7 liter V6 pushing 328 horsepower that came from the last Infiniti Q60 coupe, or the G. You know, it was weird how Infiniti did it. They introduced the sedan, but then they kept the design of the G and then renamed it the Q60. I don't know what they were really doing. I think it's kind of moronic in my opinion. I feel like they should have kept the G name. I feel like the G was quintessential Infiniti. If anyone really knew Infiniti, the first two cars you think of is either the FX truck or the G sedan. And I don't know, I'm a big believer in sticking to your guns and trying to maintain a certain presence and things of your status quo. And the same thing, I was kind of upset with BMW, because when they introduced the M4, like, I understand the logic behind it. You want to keep the, you know, odd numbers, you know, I guess sedans, and you want to keep the even numbers coupes, which is kind of weird because the you know, you have them, whatever, it doesn't matter. But that was just more of their thinking. I don't know, but when you differentiate something like the M3, something that made BMW and is what BMW is known for, and you switch the name, it's a little interesting to say the least. But with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the driving segment, because I am eager to drive this vehicle, and I am hoping, because I actually do enjoy this vehicle. You know, my personal friends that have known me know that I'm an extreme Infiniti critic, but after doing this, I realized that, you know, I try and, like I said, I'm not biased. I try and be open-minded, and like I said, I'm giving this vehicle a chance. But any vehicle, whether it's a BMW or whatever, if it's not up to my expectations or what I feel like this vehicle is trying to capture or offer, I'm gonna give an honest opinion about it. So let's go ahead and jump into the driving segment and see what this bad boy is all about. Let's go ahead and get it. What's this like driving a 2015 Infiniti Q50? Well, you know, I got my boy Superman Robson in here shocking with me, and he is a G owner, so he's about to roll me real quick and see what it's like to drive this bad boy. Let me just get a little gas right here. And
I already told him about this.
I do like that red line though, 7500 high revving VQ37HR. You know, it's a little addicting, I'm not gonna lie. But again, this is a normal mode. And this thing, oh god, this steering was
watching Coco too much.
pep to it, you know. Once you rev it up there a little bit, it's decent. It's decent. Not as fast as my 235i, but it's a little something. But in standard mode, I'm in standard. It has 3 modes. It has, well, 4 modes actually. It has 5 modes. It has personal, sport, standard, eco, and snow. So we're gonna put in a sport mode and see if it livens it up a little bit. Why did the steering get worse? I put it in a sport mode and I swear the steering felt like it got lighter. That don't make no sense.
I dislike
that makes 0 sense. Hold up. Put it back in the standard real quick. I swear this steering feels heavier in standard, bro. What? Standard. Sport. Bro. The steering is lighter in sport mode.
I'm not an Infiniti engineer.
I can't make this up. Like hold on, Craig. Hold on, Craig. Craig, tell me it ain't so. This does not make any sense. This has to be wrong. Why? I'm gonna put it into standard again. I feel the steering get a little heavier.
I told you. Steering wheel sucks, bro.
What? This doesn't make. This is the complete opposite of what I want in this car. I'm in sport mode. I am in sport mode. This is stupid. This is stupid. Who was in charge of this? You're fired. This doesn't make any sense. Why is the steering lighter in sport mode?
Taking both.
Yeah, and kill yourself because there's no feedback. Oh my goodness.
Genius,
this doesn't make any sense. This is the most backwards things I've ever seen. And ooh, an Austin Martin.
Yeah.
Alright, I see you. I was on a DB nut.
Yeah.
But yeah. Back to this. What? Oh my god. But that V6 is pretty intoxicating though, I can't even lie. In terms of the revving, I'm not the biggest fan of the sound personally. That's just my opinion. I know I'm gonna get grilled in the comments. Probably someone already disliked, like, this dude does not know what he's talking about. The V&Q was the best sounding V6 in the world, bro. But I do really appreciate that red line though. That is real clean. That is nice. I do enjoy that. But what I don't understand is like, can somebody explain to me why the steering is lighter in sport mode than it is in standard? like that really doesn't make any sense to me at all. But this steering it's steer by wire, and I don't understand, like, why would you make this more complicated than it needs to be? Why is there a module that is in charge of giving me feedback from the steering wheel? There is an intermediary between the steering wheel, the road, and the steering wheel. What? Well, who okayed this? Like, look at the man. I got no feedback in that turn whatsoever, and I wasn't even going fast. Oh my goodness. Man, that's a real Rob. That's a real negative, fam.
Hey man.
That's
I got the other gen, not the new gen.
That's a real negative. That's a real. See, at least with the 428i, obviously this is quite a bit faster. It has nearly 100 horsepower more, but at least then when I put it from comfort to sport, it changed something. It still wasn't really BMW to me, but it made it okay, you know. It made it to where if I'm looking at it and understanding it for what it is.
Still.
Yeah, I know it's Morgan Freeman over there. Like, still, it's just a little it's vague. It's really, look how light the steering wheel is. I get no feedback in here. That's really disappointing because I'm actually a fan of the exterior. I like how it looks. The interior is decent as well. It's adequate. It's up to standard. It's up to par. But wow, Infiniti, you killed this car to me. Like what is this? I'm in sport mode and I can turn the steering wheel with my pinky. This doesn't make any sense. And this is stupid to me because, like I said, one of the main reasons why people buy the Japanese equivalents to their German rivals is because people are tired of paying German taxes in terms of the reliability of German cars, the labor costs for German cars, the parts costs for German cars. So if the Japanese can't offer a decent enough sporty vehicle, then like what is this? Like, who are you trying to appeal to? Because the interior isn't as good as its German rivals. I mean, the reliability is better, but at the same time, it's still the same engine from the last generation. So what are you paying for? You get the same exact engine, worse feedback.
I mean, the only thing I don't even know. The only positive thing I'm pretty sure I like is only in the middle.
I mean, the infotainment system is pretty cool too, but
that's it. That's all I got. Sorry.
I'm sorry, Infiniti. Like I don't know what were you trying to do in this car? Like what are you appealing to? In my opinion, when it comes to, you know, a lot of people like to buy cars because of name and status. I mean, I'm not trying to be elitist or anything like that, but I'm pretty sure most people would be like, yeah, I'd prefer a BMW, Mercedes, or Audi over an Infiniti. Just off the name alone. Wouldn't that be accurate to say, Rob? So, in my opinion, the Japanese makers need to offer a complete package that's better in every way, or at least almost every way, especially in price, to its German rivals. But the interior is not bad, but compared to the Germans, is at the bottom in my opinion. Exterior-wise, it looks good to me, but at the same time, it's just they could have done better.
What's your favorite car? Genesis. Why you had to go? That's a outfit. Man.
I'm just you know, correlating with the Infiniti mantra, but
oh, he didn't want it. He was like, oh, I'm just gonna let you go.
He knows better. But
oh, he's pulling up.
yeah, right. It's probably a 2.0 T.
No, actually, it's actually the 3.0.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, guys, back to the Infiniti Q50. It does ride pretty comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. It is reasonably comfortable. But again, the steering feel is next to non-existent. I don't know of any other car that or automaker that has said it was a good idea to say let's design a steering feel where there is an intermediary device between the steering wheel and the wheels on the road. Why is there a mechanism trying to translate feedback from the road to me? Why? That makes no sense. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Why is there a separate module, a separate computer system, a separate something that's not organic, that's not real, that's not driving? It's like simulated driving in a sense. Look at this.
For real? For real? Come on.
But it's just
do better, Toyota. Do better.
But Rob, like,
really? This dude, like,
hey, it is what it is. But Rob, though, man, this steering feel, boy.
I told you it was trash. I told you.
But at the same time, like,
it might get better later. Maybe they fix the problem. I don't even know.
I don't know if it's possible to fix the problem where you made it more complicated. What happens when this module or this extra mechanism fails? You can't drive the car?
You taking it wrong. Or whenever you're going to your vacation.
It's like it doesn't make sense to me. Like, why? I don't know, fam. And it's hard because, like, it's a comfortable car. I'm actually enjoying driving it in terms of how it's making me feel on the road. Not the feedback that I'm getting, but it's actually fairly comfortable. Like I'm chilling. We're riding around Inglewood, and anyone knows Inglewood that's from LA knows that Inglewood has the absolute worst streets almost anywhere. But I'm reasonably comfortable in here. We got the AC on, you know, we got the nice tinted windows. You know, we're chilling, we're booling in here. Got a little sunroof right here too. Yeah, there's no tint on that. There's no tint on the sunroof. I can feel the heat coming through there. But I don't, you know, with a nice tint on this vehicle and it's white, it looks real clean. Like I said, this is a nice looking vehicle, but it's not a nice driving vehicle. And it's not a fun vehicle to drive other than in a straight line. And, you know, I know there are customers that are looking for that, but when you're trying to compete with sportier German cars, what does Infiniti offer that can compete with, like, you know, the likes of even a 435i? Because we're not even gonna mention M. There's just, Infiniti offers nothing that can compete with an M. If I'm being real.
Nothing.
At this moment.
Yeah, at this moment, till they do, but I don't know.
Which makes no sense because Infiniti is owned by Nissan. And correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the Nissan make a car by the name of a GTR?
Yeah. What's going on with that? That's like almost $100,000 car to buy a new.
It is.
So if you.
But that is the Nismo though, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
you can still get a GTR. GTR prices have skyrocketed from where they were before, and that's another issue too. The main calling point of the GTR was
What would you get?
Was you offered amazing performance with a okay-ish interior, but at a good price. Now you offered a pretty good interior with the same more or less performance of the previous generations, but for a much more expensive price than it was before. And that's not a good business model in my opinion, because if you're spending $140,000, $150,000, $160,000, especially for like the Nismos, you have to have a real particular customer that's gonna want to spend that much money on a GTR. And let's face it, car people know that GTRs are good cars. But at the end of the day, 160,000 GTR, or would you rather get an AMG GTR?
AMG GTR. I mean, there's no point. I mean, come on now.
And like I said, these are obviously just numbers. These aren't specific numbers, but especially the Nismos, the GTR Nismos are up there in prices. They're $140,000+.
I'm not even that big of a fan of the Nismo. Sorry, you guys are probably gonna dislike this, but what do you guys offer besides like a little bit of horsepower and that red trim and it says Nismo? That's it. That's all you get. Like, come on, man.
Don't forget the carbon fiber bits.
Oh, okay, man. That little carbon fiber. Ooh, bro. But nah, honestly, nothing.
I don't disagree.
Price hike on a GTR. Like,
but you did that badge though. You remember like the Infiniti IPO that failed? Failed miserably because, you know, Infiniti performance line. You know, people,
I mean, I was gonna get an IPO, but
Infiniti thought that, you know, if they just put a name on it and add something different, then they'll compete with that M3, and it failed. It failed hard.
I didn't even know how that was supposed to compete with M3.
You offered the same engine.
Exactly.
What are you thinking? The same natural aspirated engine. You want to compete with an M3 with the same engine in a G37? Are you out of your mind?
Okay, not even I will be an M3 in my car. So what the hell? That's why I'm trying to get one.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It feels like Infiniti and Nissan, they offer a badge of like just specialness. Ooh, you have a Nismo from the factory. That's honestly what it feels like to me, because at that point is, what are you spending your money on?
You guys are buying it just for the look, not just for the performance.
But again, as I aforementioned, it's just, man, it's hard because this is a comfortable car. It does look good to me, and I do enjoy the interior. This is a sleek vehicle, but it's not fun to drive, other than in a straight line, which is only attributed to its high revving. 3.7 liter V6, 7,500 RPMs. So I can only, oh my god, now that I think about it, they have what, the Q40, right? They have a turbo. They have a 2-liter turbo option in this car, don't they?
I already know.
I'm pretty sure they do. That they have a lower option or something like that. They have a turbo 2-liter. They have a 4-cylinder option in this car. I can definitely say it right then and now. Terrible. Terrible. I don't even need to drive it. Terrible. It's the same thing as this, but with a 2-liter. Oh, nah, fam. The only redeeming factor of this car is the fact that it has a 3.7-liter V6. And I do appreciate that. So I'm looking forward to when I do get my hands on a G37, because maybe my opinion on them will change. But with that said, I like a lot of things, but the main factor for me when I personally choose a car is the driving dynamics, and this doesn't offer it. It's comfortable. It offers a pretty good luxury experience, but at the same time, it's not as good of a luxury experience as the German rivals, and its driving dynamics sure isn't as comparable to its German rivals. So, in my opinion, if you're looking for a nice, okay-ish vehicle in terms of sportiness, but good reliability, a strong V6, linear throttle, and all of that nature, everything involved in that, it's a good vehicle. But at the same time, it's hard to say, because again, I haven't really driven a G37 yet, but compared, if it's the same engine, it's a hard sell, to be honest, in my opinion, because this or G37, if the driving dynamic is better, G37 is better, because all this offers is a touch infotainment system.
That's it.
And
redesigned from the outside and everything.
Besides the exterior, which in my personal opinion looks better, at least in the front anyway. I prefer the rare exterior of the G37, but I don't know. You missed me on this one, Infiniti. I don't know what you're really trying to do here. Like, I feel if you're trying to target a customer that doesn't care, then good job. I think you succeeded in that. But what made Infiniti in my mind was the fact that they offered a sporty, reliable driving dynamic vehicle that was in direct contrast to its unreliable, maintenance prone German rivals. And that was the niche that Infiniti and Lexus filled pretty well. But at least in terms of this generation Infiniti, you guys missed it on this one, because you guys went a little bit too mainstream. You should have kept your niche, because at least it would have been, at least you could have claimed something. Now this vehicle seems like it has an identity crisis, because it doesn't really know what it wants to do. It offers a nice engine, but no driving dynamics. It offers a good exterior, but with a decent interior. So it's kind of like a jack of all trades, except for nothing in terms of sportiness. So jack of all trades in terms of the exterior, interior, and comfortness and luxury. But outside of that, it's what is it? But we'll find out when we do a G37. Right, Rob?
Yeah.
So again, this is Views from the Heart. Thank you so much for watching. This video probably ended up being a little bit long, but appreciate you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for the next video. Y'all have a blessed day. Your boy is out.